I don't even have that many. Funny thing is, no, I do have a lot of stuff, but it's been so much going on.
I had stuff.
I don't think
I do have stuff. Shit.
I don't even think I put everything down, man.
No, but then I got on, I started looking at stuff today, and I'm like, dude, none of that stuff matters. As soon as I read, Trump and that he takes the hydrochloroquine.
Yeah, I just saw him say that today. Yeah. I'm not sure if I believe him, man.
I don't either.
To be honest with you.
I don't either. But
yeah, I'm not sure if I believe him. Yeah. So, hey, what's up, guys? If you're joining us for the first time, it's the HPR Chronicles Podcast with Shakur and Smith. We're a podcast about history, politics, and race. We also cover current affairs. And since the pandemic hit, we've been pretty much covering that week by week because there's always so many shenanigans going on and so much misinformation back and forth. And
yeah,
oh man, I have so much to say about the misinformation today and the way people feel and all that. Anyway, I'm a film director from Trinidad and Tobago, and I love traveling and history, politics, and race. And Smith is a veteran of the Army Reserves, and he currently works for the VA, and he has a passion for the same. Together with HPR Chronicles with Shakur and Smith, we always say we're about truth. We're not about any race. Even though we're both African-American, we're just about truth. The truth offends you. We're sorry, not sorry.
Not sorry.
Is what we always say. Yeah, man. So let's get into it,
yeah.
Chris, because I know you have guests, and I'm just here chilling. And after this, I'm just lay back and maybe have a glass of wine and make some dinner at 6. So you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Trying to get back into it, man. We're talking about the pandemic of COVID-19. Our gym opened for the first time today, like a stage 1 soft opening, which is, only a few people can come in at a time. And when we get there, everything's already clean. When we leave, we have to wipe everything down, and what they're doing is posting a whiteboard every week. So you can just select to come in whichever day you see fit and just do that whiteboard workout. Okay. But we still have the at-home virtual group sessions as well.
Yeah. So you can do either or.
Yeah, you could do either or, but the thing about it is you only could do technically you should only go to the gym to do that whiteboard workout only once because it's only one workout they're going to post for the entire week. Yeah. So he was like, just come in and do this one day. Now, if you want, as long as it's not busy, you can take our recorded live session Zoom workouts and take your phone to the gym and do it at the gym if you want. As long as there's not a lot of people there, you don't have to do it at home anymore. You can go in as long as it's enough to spread out. And today when I got there, I was the only one that showed up at 9. And maybe about 10 minutes after I showed up, 3 other ladies that I know showed up. And they actually did like a group thing along with Josh, the owner / trainer of the gym. And I basically did the whiteboard workout. It was good, man. It was just really good to get back in there and touch the gym again and do some squat work and some pull-ups and you know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, I'm
jump on the row machine and yeah,
I'm really antsy to get back in the gym myself too.
Yeah, so it was nice. So probably what I'll do is since I already did this week's whiteboard workout, I'll probably just do the rest of the week on Zoom, but just decide if I want to do it at home or go there. So when I was done with my session today, he has wipe stations all around with a bunch of wipes. Yeah. So I went and just wiped everything down that I used and put it away.
Nice.
That's basically the way we're doing it for our audience that's listening to the gym that I belong to. And all weekend I've been seeing openings of gyms all across the nation. And, I don't know what they're doing in your town or city, but hopefully they're doing the right thing. I really like the way Josh is doing it here in wine country. So, yeah.
And it's not so much the gym's rules. I mean, which would be, nice to have a particular set of rules on what you're supposed to do. The one thing I'm nervous about is the individuals,
Right.
That people who actually do the cleaning that they're supposed to do when they're done. But then when I come in, I should probably clean down the equipment myself too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So and every day he has deep cleaning from like I think he said 1:30 to 2 or something like that. Every day they shut the gym down at a certain time, like an hour time slot, where they a professional crew comes in and cleans it.
All right.
That's the way he's doing it, like every day, you know?
Okay. You know, I got to say, I live not far from Sonic.
Mm-hmm.
And, well, yeah. And there's, at night, there's times I can hear this cleaning, you know, like steaming thing going.
Mm-hmm.
And I've looked out and seen them steaming or whatever, cleaning the parking lot.
Right.
Which is kind of interesting how they, you know, how deeply they're doing to keep, you know, the virus at bay.
Yeah, that's good, man. I mean, I like it, you know, and I know I'm taking a risk, but I mean, maybe I'm not taking as big as a risk. One thing I want to do before we go is let our audience know the numbers in our town here with our little tri-cities, or if you want to call it 4 cities, if you want to include Menifee. We'll definitely do that before the end of the show. Got to make sure I make a note.
You don't want to include him?
So I don't forget. No, him is a little further out from us.
I'm being
funny. Yeah. That's funny. No, I don't want to include him, man. So yeah, first of all, how was your week/weekend? Thanks for hopping on as always.
It was good. It was good to go out. You know, went out and hung out with some folks. They were, as far as I know, had been doing the quarantine similar to like I have been. So I felt fairly safe enough. I still didn't do handshaking.
Right.
You know? Yeah, I hugged people I kind of trust or whatever, but just, you know, and I don't even really want to do that. Oh, like, why even?
Why even do any form of physical communication, right? Like contact. Yeah.
But, you know, that was just good to get out and see other people, you know, except for the same people you see all the time. Since I've been reading some things, it's made me kind of have a different aspect of how the openings are going. Like I've gone to a couple places that, even though they said, well, I'll start, like I went to a restaurant and they brought out the food to me. So they're, you know, some places are doing strictly curbside. They're still not letting you sit inside. Another place I went in to buy some beer, and it was a bar that sells, you know, you can buy by the cans and take home. But, you know, people were in there just kind of drinking. And I was like, I didn't know you could do that. I don't know if it was on the DL or not. You know, I'm not trying to, so I'm not going to name the place, but don't want them to get in trouble because, you know, there was a group of guys and they probably knew each other. I'm sure they knew each other. And they stood off to one side, and there was another gentleman. And if I didn't have something planned, I might have just, you know, grabbed me something and sat at a different table. But I was heading back home anyway. So
that's cool, man.
My point is, you know, like, one nice thing about being out here in California, and of course it is closer to summer, being able to be outside does make it feel a little bit safer, because then
you have more of an
the air flow is moving.
Yeah.
And I did read some things that said, you know, like being outside, you know, don't be concerned if you're walking and someone's walking past you, you know, give someone a smile, keep it going.
Yeah.
If they're coughing or sneezing, that's a whole different thing. But you know, as long as people are just going along doing their, you know, on their path or keep along on their way, it's not a bad idea. You know.
Yeah, so because when you sneeze or cough, those droplets come out with more force, a lot more force, than them just talking. You know. Yeah. And
you know, again, people are. You know, when you were talking about the misinformation, like I'm seeing people go, well, if masks work, why do I need to wear them? So how did they say? If masks work, then why do I need it? I'm not even going to try to quote it right now, but my point in saying is when the virus first was came out and I guess, you know, the United States finally started looking into it, or really, you know, dealing with patients and stuff back in March. There wasn't that much known. You know, they didn't know how to actually do proper treatment. You know, a lot of people were just strict going to ventilator or being ventilated, which, that's been changed. Their, ventilation is more of a last step. They're proning and doing some other things before having to get to a ventilator, which means that, we're learning some things on how to treat it, at least. And because of that, there's still questions on how much of the virus has to get into you in order to, you to be affected negatively, and does, a simple touch of something, incidentally, will that be enough? So can you, you don't want to live in fear, but you also want to be safe. Of course, I'm going to still wear a mask inside, visit stores and stuff like that, or around people who I may be concerned that they're at risk, or they may be at, I could be at risk with them because they're not being practicing social distance and all that.
Right. It's funny because the girl, the girl I was hanging out with this weekend, we went to this new Creole Spot in town. I told you about that. It's absolutely amazing, and it's African American owned, which is so cool. Great energy, nice people, great customer service. And so when I called, she had originally said that we can sit outside. She has like some patios area outside, but so we ordered food. So we went to go outside, and she couldn't open the gate. You know what I mean? And you know how most restaurants have the tables put up and all that? She did have most of it put up, but then she had a section that wasn't put up.
Okay.
So we went back inside. I said, hey, can we just eat here? She said, you guys are fine. Yeah, go ahead and eat here. You know what I mean? So we were literally the only ones eating in this Creole restaurant, and everyone else was coming in with masks, ordering their food and taking it to go or whatever. Yeah, man. And and then the next day, which was Sunday, this was Saturday. The next day I went because, I told him I was going to come back for lunch the next day because I wanted to try some of the fish and shrimp and stuff. Man, so I ordered. So and this is great to go along with our show today because it was, some things happened that I didn't expect. So I ordered online from this Creole Spot, and I clicked, bring to my car when I pull up.
Yes.
So Crispy, I said, it's a beautiful day, man. I'm going to take the 72 Impala, drop the top, take a nice cruise up in the sun. Man, I get right out here to my intersection. The car just shuts down on me in the middle of the intersection. Yeah. And I had just given it enough gas that it rolled over the intersection and stopped like right in the middle of the street behind 7-Eleven. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was in the middle of the street, just sitting there trying to get it going. Luckily, a good Samaritan stopped by. He helped me push it aside.
Nice.
And I called AAA. AAA goes, because of COVID-19, we no longer can take you with the vehicle. So he'd have to take the vehicle, and you'd have to get a ride or an Uber to take you home. I was like, excuse me? I was like, even if I have a mask? She was like, yes. So luckily, I was literally right across the street.
Yeah.
My neighbor Ken came to help me, do something with the car, but we couldn't get it going. And Ken, he had to go back because his wife was leaving, the kids for work, whatever. So I ended up just walking back home. Okay. And the tow truck guy told me, he said, yeah, man, because stuff has been reopening, he said, at first I was getting maybe 2 calls a day. And he was like, now I'm getting, back up to 10 calls a day again. Because more people are on the road, so more people are actually breaking down. Like they were before, which is interesting, right? And I was like, yeah, man, but I said it's crazy that I can't even ride home with you. Like, good thing I broke down across the street.
Yeah.
Because I would have been stuck like a truck had I not. I would have been calling you, Crispy. Can you give me a ride?
What if you're a half an hour away?
Yeah. Yep. They said they're not taking people anymore, and because of the COVID thing, they're practicing social distancing. So anyway, I end up dropping the car off, jumping in my other car, going to get my food, and when I pulled up, there were a group of people on the patio eating, but they obviously knew each other though. You could tell. Nobody was wearing masks, so she was off. I guess she offered them the same thing she offered me and Lisa. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But so things are starting to loosen up and open up a bit, and with these stages and stuff like that. And I do know a lot of people are getting very frustrated with all the misinformation out out there, and including me, because I just saw on the news. Well, first of all, as I showed you at the get together, the numbers in our town are like very small. You know what I mean? Then I was watching the news, and sure enough, I saw one of the medical professionals. Well, two things happened. This one doctor in LA, he came on and said, unfiltered, the thing that's crazy about it is, it was just a live interview. He said, the thing that's crazy about it is, when people are coming in, we don't know what's COVID and what's not.
Yeah.
So we just like, you know what I mean? And the way he said it kind of confirms what people have been telling me. And then later that day, I saw the other guy come on and say, you know, in cases where it's a hospital and there's 15,000, about 5,000 of those cases were not COVID, but they were just marked as COVID. You know what I'm saying? Which was interesting to me. And it goes back to what Elon Musk was saying. They're doing that because if you say you have COVID cases, they're subsidizing that, and the hospitals need it now because they're so empty that they're about to go bankrupt, all these hospitals. And I talked to a nurse yesterday who told me the same thing. She said, all my friends work on the COVID floor, and all the emergency nurses and doctors don't even come in because they don't even want to deal with it. And they told all the non-emergency people to just wait. So they're only taking emergencies in COVID. But the cases are so low that's why they need the money.
Yeah,
that's why they were saying, "Oh, this is COVID. That's COVID." When you know, maybe like a third or a quarter of it was not COVID.
Yeah.
You know, and that's just what the guy on the news confirmed. And then when I read the cases in our town, it really made me start to question and say, like, man, was this thing really as bad as they said it was? First of all. The mortality rate is so low, second of all, and was it worth killing the economy the way it has? You know what I mean? And I know I'm rambling. I'll stop and I'll let you interject, but it was just all this crap was on my mind about it. It's like, come on, man.
I still think it was warranted because they didn't know how to do treatments for it, so there were people dying. And the other part is that, as they still say, it's more contagious than the flu. You know, it's still 10 times as contagious. So
right, exactly. I agree. Yeah.
You know, but the question is, if you get it, how is it going to affect you? You know, if you're healthy, but we've also heard of healthy people who have gotten, you know, really bad symptoms from it. So, right. You know, but I guess what I'm thinking is, or the point of it always felt was, they didn't want to overwhelm the hospitals. And I think it went, you know, when you saw places like LA and Chicago or New York, where their hospitals were being overwhelmed and they needed to restrict, you know, people, like that made sense. Now, did it need to happen everywhere? Not necessarily, but the problem is because certain areas didn't just let it go, like however, you know, when you remember one of the episodes we did, the kids who went to spring break in Florida, and you saw how they left out and how they just went everywhere, and how it kind of ballooned where they went, the cases kind of went up. So in the beginning of it, people weren't doing social distance, no masks, nothing like that, and just touching and hanging out and having fun. And so, unfortunately, that was the backlash of it was.
I agree. Yeah.
If people would have just, people would have been more, and I still don't think people are this 100%. If people are just still more considerate about everyone else around them, then I think we would have been able to handle this better. But at the same time, if you compare it to like New Zealand or Australia, and how they went to lockdown and they have 0 cases. So you know, they don't have any more deaths.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I completely agree. I mean, well, I guess we like did a good job in our little town. Then I'll read off to the audience the numbers here where we are.
And the last thing I just want to say out of that is that, you know, the question always is how many deaths are acceptable? You know,
right? Well, none.
Exactly, but if we could have kept it, you know, if people would have not gone out and stayed pretty strict on, you know, not trying to go to churches and all the other stuff early on, would we be down to less than 30,000 deaths?
30,000 or 4,000.
But instead,
yeah, exactly.
we're, you know, and
it's approaching 100,000. But again, a lot of those are not COVID. A lot of those, they, you know, and I heard Fauci say the number is most likely way more than reported. Then I've literally seen doctors say, well, we've reported thousands of cases that weren't COVID. So maybe if you cancel both of those out, maybe it is 90,000. Yeah, maybe
right. Because then you hear, I'm hearing conflicts that, like, was it Georgia or Florida or one of them southern states are not counting any or not reporting any of the deaths.
Not reporting any deaths.
Yeah. So if you're not reporting any deaths, you're so making the numbers seem
less than they are.
And people, you know, and I keep hearing like, oh, there's, you know, so many more cases. And then the answer is, but we're doing more testing. Well, the testing should have already been there. And that's the problem, is the testing came out so late. So, you know, well, go ahead.
Yeah. So for those listening in our little town in these cities, so Canyon Lake, it's close enough to us. I mean, they could say they're not far from the winery, so I always base it on where the wineries are. But Canyon Lake, they had like 6 cases, 0 deaths, and then Lake Elsinore, 66 cases, 0 deaths, and Menifee, 71 cases, 1 death. Marietta is where Smith lives, 63 cases, 2 deaths. Temecula, 71 cases, 0 deaths, and Wildomar, where I am, 30 cases, 2 deaths. You know what I mean? And this morning when I went to the gym, I saw them testing too, where they were testing before when it first started. At the big trailer set up, people were driving in and getting tested. So they're still testing here in our community. But you know, we've done a good job, man. I've rolled through Old Town, and it's a ghost town. You know what I'm saying?
I'm hearing. Well, no, I'm still hearing it.
Yeah, we haven't been going out to our main area here where we hang out.
But I did see
even at the wineries, people just pick up with their mask and they leave. You know, so.
But I did see a video where, what was it? Some people were listening to a band, but they were outside practicing social distance while the band was there.
Yeah, but if you think about the 2 places that we mostly congregate in our little town, it's the wineries in Old Town, and those were shut down.
Yeah.
So that's probably why we didn't have more of a spread.
Cases aren't going.
In our area, because we weren't really going anywhere where we could interact and be all crazy and stuff like that, and we kind of did the right thing, you know. Yeah, man. What do I have on my list? That family in New York. The New York family refused to live in Vermont because they saw New York plates. Yeah. The New York family that was refused to move to the neighborhood in Vermont. They got all the backlash because the people in the neighborhood saw the New York plate and was mad and told them they couldn't come in the neighborhood. I'm like, come on, people. I mean, come on. I mean, they at least could have said, hey, why don't you guys get tested and let us see? You know, I'm just.
Or, I mean, technically, you know, like, because I don't know if you know, Hawaii, if you go to Hawaii, you're quarantined for 2 weeks. And
they make you, because they don't want to spread.
Like,
I heard.
And if you don't, you can be fined and arrested.
Yeah, I heard.
So they're pretty strict for, you know, Hawaii. But, yeah, why couldn't the family just move in and quarantine themselves for a couple of weeks? And, you know, like, the only thing I would be concerned is if they don't have enough groceries, but
right. Yeah, I mean, I understand the neighborhood being concerned, but and I don't know exactly what was said, but to me, it's important what was said and how they went about it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. You know what I'm saying? It's not what they said, but it's how they said
it. They did it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, that's.
I don't have too many, you know, like that. That one just seems like it's kind of on the more ridiculous side. You know, I get the concern, but at the same time, you know, again, we're in America. You're supposed to be able to freely go and move around freely, which then kind of makes me want to talk about Arbery, the young kid who killed by the father and the
cops,
son.
yeah.
I don't know if you read. There's another video came out that's like 4 minutes long, showing them chasing the young guy.
No, I haven't seen it. That one. No.
I haven't seen it, but I just heard about.
Okay.
Because I don't know if the video is released or not, but there's a video about 4 minutes long where the father and son are chasing him, and it's like,
wow,
you know, it's almost vigilante type.
Yeah,
thing.
that's what you took the words right out of my mouth, right out of my mind. Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, and then I also read another little article that said the sister and daughter. So the sister to the boy, daughter to the father. She posted a Snapchat of the young man's dead body.
Serious?
Yeah.
Is that for real?
That's for real.
Wow.
Yeah. Snapchat.
Wow. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I do know that if they don't do the right thing in this case, it's going to be a riot, bro.
Yeah. Which kind of makes me
people tired of it. Yeah.
Only one thing I've also started getting a little concerned about the whole, when you talk about riot and if we go back to COVID for just a quick second, is seeing the protesters and how angry they are, and then listening, or if you're on social media, how people are not willing to like, if you get someone, they'll blame China. They're going to blame the CDC. Then you go, well, what about Trump's response? And they go, well, you know, oh, you're choosing China over the United States. No, I'm asking you, what about Trump? You know, he's in charge. He's giving information. You know, a lot of times it's misleading. What do you think? And then they're like, well, there's blame. You know, everyone's to blame. I'm sorry. Like, you know, so it almost makes me concerned. People can't even blame him for just, you know, any part of this. Then, therefore, that almost makes me worried when he loses, how they're going to react.
Oh, of course.
You already got the people, you know, brave enough to walk into Capitol buildings with their
with their rifles
on their shoulders and everything. The election is about to get very scary.
Yeah. I honestly think if he loses, or I should say when he loses, the National Guard, the Army will come in and just escort him out if they don't want to leave, you know. And if Biden chooses Stacey Abrams or someone similar as his running mate, he'll win for sure. Because you know, this whoever wins is not going to win without the African American vote. And with that said, Biden better do the right thing, because he's not going to win without an African American running mate. I can guarantee you that. It's just not going to happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So hopefully when they do win, you know, and he picks the right running mate, Trump, you know, will be escorted out if he decides not to. But he needs to get up out of there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I don't know, did you recall McConnell made a comment about Obama administration and how they didn't leave pandemic plan,
which is not true.
After a couple of days later, he actually had to apologize, which I gotta say is amazing.
Yeah, which is not true, because they left Trump an entire plan, a 60-page booklet on what to do if this happened, and he totally dismissed it.
Yep.
He totally dismissed it because he didn't want any advice from, especially Obama. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially not him. You know what I mean? Talking about that, there's two things I want to touch on, because I'm sure these people, I may be wrong to say this, but I'm sure these people are part of his base. But the park ranger that got pushed in the water by all those people going to that lake, did you see that? Because he was saying that they can't come to the lake. Yeah. It was a couple of weeks ago, but I forgot to talk about it last week.
Okay.
You know, they pushed the park ranger in the lake, man, because he was telling them, hey, you guys can't be, you got to social distance. They literally pushed him in the lake in all his gear. You know what I mean? Then the KKK hoodie, the store in Santee, which they call Clanty down here by San Diego. This dude came in. He didn't have a mask, so he came in his KKK hoodie to go grocery shopping.
There's another incident. There's a second incident in Texas where a gentleman did that. But I heard they're actually looking for him. Like the other one, he was talked to and stuff, and he removed he removed the hood, but the other one, for whatever reason, they're looking into him. So
that's crazy, man.
That's pretty bold. Like, okay, here, let me just throw this on.
Yeah, really, really bold. You know. Then in other news, and this is where Smith is from, everybody, the Wild Wild West in Wisconsin, as they're saying. You know, the governor, who's Democrat, was trying to follow the rules, and he was overturned by the Supreme Court. You know, the bars in Wisconsin are packed. You know what I mean? There's a lot of confusion going on in all different counties. And I heard the government say, man, all I can say is like the Wild Wild West. And I want to know what Smith thinks about that, being that he came from there. And you still have, your son is still there, right?
Yeah, my son's still there.
Yeah, and your ex-wife.
And I didn't grow up there, but yeah, I lived there.
You spent time there. Yeah, you spent time there.
So, I mean, I'm really feeling like people are almost, okay, so it seems like they want to use the economy as a reason to, push these things to get themselves back out into, the public places and celebrating or doing whatever it is they want to do. But it almost feels like, I've been trapped in my house. The weather's starting to get better. I can't, like, I don't want to just be inside. But it's weird because they don't want to be inside, but they want to be inside a bar. So if it'd be one thing if they were fighting to sit at parks and stuff like that.
Right, exactly. But at a bar drinking
and seeing the picture of a bar, just person, and another, people touching their faces, and it's I hope this is where you hope things aren't as bad as they say, because if it is, you become concerned about your friends and family.
Yeah. Have you seen the study they did in Japan with like the green light? Did you see? They just did it last week. Oh, Crispy, you gotta look it up on YouTube when we get off. Okay. They did a study showing how easily like a disease like this can spread. So they sprayed this invisible stuff on this guy's hands. Yeah. Right? And he went to this restaurant. It was buffet style. And he went and got some food. Yeah. And everybody else went and got food and sat down. Then they turned the lights off and turned the green lights on, and you saw how it spread and how people had it on their faces, didn't even know. Wow. I swear to God, you could see it on their faces, right by their eye, by their mouth, even in their food bowl.
Really?
Yes, like the top of their food, because they grabbed the thing, grabbed their bowl, put the food in it, grabbed the bowl with the other hand, put it on the table. It was insane. You gotta look it up. Okay. You know what I mean? When you see that, it makes you go, you know what? All these years I was not careful. I had no idea this stuff spread that easily, and I got to be way more careful from now on. Gotcha. It was eye-opening just to watch how it spread after they turned the lights on and they magnified the green lights. You could see where it went. Everybody in the restaurant would have gotten it, which explains the one thing where they showed in China how in that one place how that one person had it, but he was 15 feet away, but everybody in the restaurant got it. And they never even talked to each other. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I get it.
Man,
because I just thought about is, we talk about, talking and how it's spreading that way. But obviously it could be on your hands and stuff like that. Yeah. You go to the bathroom, and you're going to touch areas that you're not even thinking so much about. Yeah. The back of a chair, and you like, boom. Yep. And someone just comes sliding.
Yep. You don't think about everything you touch along the way and how you end up touching your face after without washing your hands first. And they actually did the exact same study, exact same people. And the second time they had the guy wash his hands. Okay. And they showed the result. It was hardly anywhere.
Oh, wow.
See what I'm saying?
Got it. Mm-hmm.
Just simply washing your hands. Bro. Like it was insane. If you watch this thing.
You have now, that's my main reason for not wanting to continue shaking people's hands, because I've been too many places where, you go to a bathroom, person leaves, right from the stall or whatever, right outside, and it's like, ew, and then you happen to run into someone, that same person. They're like, oh, hey, how are you? Like, can you please not put your hand out there? But anyway, that was kind of
it's crazy, man. What else I'm gonna talk about? The Raphls, the two workers from two different Raphls died. One of the stores in Culver City, where I used to live from, we moved out to the wine country area. That was kind of crazy. And another store is right around the corner from this girl I'm seeing, Lisa, where she lives in Sherman Oaks. So we have 4 people at the Raphls in LA County that died, and 45 more outbreaks at 45 more Ralph stores in and around LA County.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And LA, they have way more cases than we do, so it's kind of understanding. You know what I'm saying? They have thousands more.
I mean, there's more population.
Way more population, millions. Yeah, we only have like a few 100,000 in our little area, something like that. Yeah, huge population. I'm glad we're not dealing with stuff like that here. You know, and my heart goes out to those people in LA.
On another note, I don't know if you some more news from like today. We already said Trump said he's been taking hydroxychloroquine to prevent the coronavirus, and I think it said he's been taking it for like a week and a half so far. And I don't know if anyone has looked or read into it, but there's side effects to it, and some of it could be hearing, seeing, and having like paranoid delusions. So like you want the president of the United States to be taking something that may have him paranoid. And you know what? Honestly, if I can give my opinion on that report I saw today as well, I'm not sure if I believe him. I don't believe him.
I think it's just another case of him trying to deflect and shift the attention somewhere else. That's what I think,
to try to get a drug that has been said is not necessarily it's been said it's not proven to be effective, and he just continually wants to push this drug, which makes you wonder, because I've kept hearing. Well, actually, last week there was the whistleblower who said that one of the things that the administration kept trying to push was the hydroxychloroquine, and he was like, it's not proven. And to hear, I thought he said that allies of Trump, friends or somehow they know, they are the ones who are, who have the drug available. So then that company would be profiting off of this, but at the same time, they could be profiting off of deaths. But here he is pushing something that could help other people, his friends, which that makes me concerned. So that's why I agree with you. I don't know if I would believe. I want some proof that he's been, who's giving it, how long. Can we see him getting a shot?
Right. Crispy, I highly doubt if Trump is taking something that he's heard scientists and doctors say could actually kill you. I just don't believe he's taking that. I just think he's trying to deflect. He's trying to use that to cause the stock exchange to go up. They hear, the president's actually taking it, and it makes the dial go back up.
Well, I heard it could be that. Wasn't that more because there's actually been reports that there's a vaccine that looks promising? So
that's one of the reasons why the dial went up. But I'm just saying, I'm thinking maybe he said it to help it go up even more.
Got it.
You know what I mean? I don't know. I'm just speculating.
No, those are
my theory. It's like,
with that man, any of that could be very possible, because
I just don't believe him. The way he said it, I'm taking it right now. Please. I'm not buying that shit on sale at Walmart. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And again, along with the whole Trump thing, he also made a comment that he was Barr, the Attorney General of the United States, who's doing a probe into right now the unmasking of Flynn. If people don't know, Flynn's case is kind of being dropped or whatever. Yeah. But Trump, of course, wants Biden and Obama criminally probed or investigated. And
happen.
he said when Barr said he doesn't see that happening,
right.
Trump was kind of upset. So
yeah.
it's kind of interesting, like there again shows how Trump is really wanting to use the legal system
He's just trying to
punish his political opponent.
Yeah.
Even though Obama is not an opponent,
right.
he just wants to, because like he even when he was running and he made that statement, which I think was very wrong for him to say, when he's like, Hillary Clinton, I'm going to make sure they put you in jail, that someone has an investigation. Who? Anyway.
Which I heard Kamala Harris may be up for the attorney general job if Biden wins, and if she gets in, they were talking about her going after Trump.
You know what? I gotta say though,
awesome.
I think it might be interesting to have her as Secretary of State.
Oh, okay, yeah, that'd be good too.
And you remember Sally Yates? She was the assistant director or assistant.
It sounds familiar, but yeah.
She was the one who went to the White House and said, "Hey, we've got these recordings where Flynn." She was the one who kind of blew up the whole Flynn thing when saying that there's some recordings out there and they need to be concerned about it. And that's when Trump took whatever amount of weeks before he fired him or whatever. But Sally Yates would be, I think, that's another person I think would be good if they could put Kamala in a better,
Yeah, that would be awesome, man. That would be awesome. The last two things on my list is the 180 that was forced into quarantine in the California church, and they went back. And did you hear about that one?
Yeah, I got that on my thing. Yeah,
I'm like, come on, people. They went back. Not listening, and 180 of them they had to go into quarantine.
Yeah, one person potentially exposed 180 other people at a church.
Yeah,
and to think that they're supposed to be self-quarantine and stuff like that. Now, I don't know if you're saying you heard that they went back out, but just the fact that
that happened, and they weren't supposed to go to church. Is my point.
They weren't. Yeah,
and they went. They didn't want to listen. I guess the blood of Jesus didn't have him in this situation. Because now they all...
Do they know how many people have... I don't think they know how many people have tested positive yet.
I don't think they know yet. They just said 180 of them had to go into quarantine.
I'm curious to find that out, though. That's very interesting, because that would be something, to those friends and family that are so religious, like...
Right.
So, it almost makes you wonder, because I think their statement back to a person, and I'm sorry, this is more this is the religious side of our show. If they make a comment that they weren't worthy enough to be to not get COVID, then what did they do?
Right,
right. What did they really do?
Right. They always have an excuse. Yeah, they always have an excuse.
And if going to church is, that should be the safe haven where the Lord is not going to allow it to happen.
Right. This is what I say: stay home and pray. You know what I mean?
Which is another interesting.
Stay home and pray. You'll still get your blessings. You don't have to be in the structure. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Which makes me wonder if the pastor, if the reason for bringing people in is so that they can continue getting their tithes, their money from people. That's not a proper thing. But at the same time, if they were equipped and set up, or just even used regular technology like Zoom, they could do a broadcast over and have people just watch it.
Exactly.
Again, there's different. You got to think outside the box. The idea that you have to be next to each other is not a truth.
Which is the blood of Jesus is not going to save you. Yeah.
If he's everywhere, he's watching me at home.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and he ain't gonna save you from the COVID if it's in your church. Trust me when I tell you that.
Exactly.
I am sure he's way busier than that to worry about one church with COVID. You know what I'm saying? People have to leave that concept. Anyway, man, the last thing on my list, I know we've been on for a while. You have guests. Is the lady that went back to McDonald's with a gun because she couldn't eat there. And she got mad. Did you hear about that one? Look it up. We get off.
So she didn't have a
it's an
mask,
African
and they told her,
American sister too, man. She wanted to eat at McDonald's. They told her, no, you got to take it home. And she went and got a gun, and she wanted to force them to let her eat inside. I mean, come on, people.
I saw, just again, I saw a video where it's this couple, both African American, who were fighting and getting upset because they were being told to leave. And I can't remember what store or business, but they didn't want to wear a mask. And he was like, the governor said you don't have to wear a mask. I don't have to wear a mask.
Happening here now,
And I know I've also read articles where people have said a lot of places aren't forcing you. They're requesting that you please, because they don't want to have these type of arguments. And it's crazy that the few people out there are making a big thing about a mask when it's not just meant to save them. It's meant to prevent other people from getting, and again, the bad part is, even for us, we, Riverside County, we were told June something, and then all of a sudden it got rescinded. So it's like, you can wear a mask now if you want. And it's like, well, damn, just last week I had to wear, so exactly. you kind of 1 minute you're ready to just do what you have to do, and then someone gets it overturned, and you're like, right, really? Like, and you're like, but I'm not hearing, are the cases coming down? Then what phase is this in? Because wouldn't that mean this is more like phase 2, 3, or something like that?
Right. Exactly.
And there's one more thing I saw that kind of caught my attention, and we'll have to look into it more. But there's this statement that was picked, or news thing that was picked up by Newsweek as an investigation into a secret new watch list that lets Trump administration track Americans, which is very interesting because most, I would say, Republicans do not agree with that type of thing. So it would be interesting if we had, like a person who was more of a Trump supporter or just a Republican in ideal, what they thought about this new thing that's coming out, or that came out. It was launched in 2017. And even though it's meant to track like foreign government entities, transnational criminal organizations, include not just drug cartels, crime syndicates, and gangs, but also political groups such as nationalist parties and information activists. So that's kind of like, a little stepping out of bounds, and you're tracking Americans. So I don't think that's the right thing. And this is the biggest list or change that has come out since 9/11. So there was something that happened back then, and anyone coming up on this list is almost being looked at as like a terrorist.
Well, what I wanted to say, I'm glad you brought that up, because what I want to say before we sign off is that I hope, I was asking myself, all these conspiracy theorists guys, like, why would America want to cripple their own economy and cause over 30 million people to file for unemployment? I mean, and just kill numerous of businesses and all that kind of stuff. One theory is that, Trump was the first president to enforce tariffs against China and say, this is unfair. Y'all need to pay your fair share. Yeah. And China was upset, knew that the popular, the masses here doesn't like Trump anyway, which is why he lost the popular vote. He said, I'm going to release this to kill the economy and it'll kill him. That's one theory. What I said to that was, look on the other side of that. Usually wartime presidents get reelected. And this is basically World War III without dropping a bomb. We had the same amount of people die around the world. People were forced to stay home, and it's worse than the Great Depression after World War II. This was basically World War III without dropping a bomb. Biological warfare at its best. The new way to go to war, right? So I said, wartime presidents usually get reelected. So I'm not sure I always thought that China released this on purpose to get back at the U.S. I said that from the beginning.
Yeah.
Then the flip side of it is, what civil liberties are they trying to take away if they really just wanted this to happen? And I'm talking to all the conspiracy theorists out there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that they did do it on purpose. I'm saying, what did they have to gain by allowing this to happen on purpose? If it did happen on purpose and it's all a lie, according to some of the conspiracy theorists.
Yeah.
That's the last thing I have to put to you before we sign
just
off.
The only thing that I question is the idea that China released it, because obviously they took a big hit in their and their people dying, and even though it's a communist country, I don't see them wanting to kill their own people because to get back at us. So I could see if it didn't affect them, somehow, or they had shielded themselves off from, especially since there's been a second wave of the disease coming out, is supposedly out there, then I just have a weird thought that a government would do that on purpose. That would affect their own people too. But now, which then is kind of your question on why would America let it affect us, right? And a part of me
governments do things on purpose though to hurt their own
people
they do
for
other gains. Like Pearl Harbor, like 9/11 was all done on purpose, and they kill people, but they don't care. They look at the ultimate gain of it,
But they don't. But at the same time, both of those things, they didn't affect their own people in order to, So Pearl Harbor, they actually attacked the, Pearl Harbor. 9/11, they attacked they went after the buildings. This one, if we go with the idea that China released it in order to affect the United States, then they would have released it somehow in the United States. They wouldn't have had their own people get infected with it, or they would have, if they did let their people get infected, I would have assumed that they would have had a vaccine so that they could have recovered quickly, as opposed to losing any deaths there. That's just my.
But the thing about it is, with them, how do you know they don't have none of that stuff though? You know what I mean? I'm just playing devil's advocate. Because they're a communist country. They choose to tell us what they want to tell us. They don't. They're never honest. How do we know? How do we know the numbers? And it's funny. Sione made a really good point the other day when we were going to the grocery store. He said, let me ask you a question. He said, how is it that this started in China, but the only place in China that it affected was Wuhan, and it was Wuhan, and it jumped the ocean, hit Pakistan, Italy. Why didn't it spread to other places in China? Why didn't it go to Shanghai, all the other cities? China has over 1 billion people. He's like, why did it stay in Wuhan? Why was it contained in Wuhan so quickly and never went anywhere else? How were they able to contain it just in this little town, but it went wherever else around the world? And I said, dude, I never thought about it until you just brought it up.
That one out. All I gotta say is I'm not disputing his statement, because that's the only place I've heard. But I would have to do a little bit more digging to see if it did spread to any other spots in China. That would be interesting, because if it only
so much, we don't know what's true with them.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but to answer the other question is, why would they let it spread in America? Yeah, again. Trump does seem like the type of person to, I don't know, he just felt like initially like he was willing to start wars for very, little reasons, like with Kim Jong, with North Korea, wanting to get into the back, the tariff thing with China, quick to go after Mexico, Canada, all our allies who would not necessarily attack us, but I was concerned, have been concerned, as you said, is most wartime presidents get reelected, and that he would find a war to get involved in so that it would increase his chances of being elected.
Right.
I think if they were planning this, he's just not smart enough to know.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think they did it on purpose either. Yeah.
Like if he was involved and kind of knew about it, if a smarter person would have taken it serious so that he could have been like, look, now, I did this, it prevented deaths, we're all good,
Mm-hmm.
or even, just something. But instead, he's trying to, as most people should be able to see, he's blaming other places, other people, and he's like, nothing's wrong with me. Now I'm trying to open the economy, which still then makes initially it feels like then people are more important than money, which he does seem like a greedy person.
Oh,
so it fits his, but
of course.
Yeah, I unfortunately, he's the type of person who believes in conspiracy theories that I believe he would be part of a conspiracy theory.
Right. I don't believe America wanted it on purpose. The Democrats wanted it on purpose to kill the economy to make sure Trump loses. I don't believe none of those theories. This is what people are saying now.
Well, I did hear, or I read, someone posted something that said, and it's interesting because it's always this person said this. It's never like, this Democrat senator name had said, or it was more like, all the Democrats are smiling and cheering that COVID is spreading and people are dying because they know, or and that the quarantine happened because it's hurting the economy and will ruin Trump's chances. I think that that's just someone, a supporter of Trump who puts that out there to make people get angry enough to get mad at Democrats, which I just never understood. I still don't understand that, you're a Democrat, you're bad because you're liberal, or you're a liberal, you're bad. Conservatives, I don't get that labeling like that, but they stick with it so much, when they blame, when they call someone something, it's everybody, all liberals want to take away guns.
Right.
No. I mean, there's liberals who have guns. So what are you talking about?
Yep.
All liberals want to abort kids. No. They just don't care to tell someone how to live their life.
Right, exactly.
A person may have, so that extreme thing of how a lot of conservatives or I don't even know what to call them, just that people who tend to think like that and go, I'm going to blanket statement all of them. It's just wrong. But,
yeah, I agree.
So sorry, I'm long-winded.
No, it's all good. No, those are all valid points. I just wanted to bring that to the table because that's the last thing I heard over this weekend. All these dumb conspiracy theories about how, like I said, the Dems want it on purpose, so kill his economies, he's reelected. I just don't buy it.
Yeah, I don't
because that could backfire.
Yeah, good point. Yep.
Oh man. Anyway, Smith, thanks for hopping on, brother.
Thank you.
Follow us on social media, guys. Everything is in the description. ISCNT Group Digital. Is the YouTube channel if you'd like to subscribe and watch us instead of listen. Most of you listen, I know, but if you want to see us, that's where we are. Hit that notification button. And rptalktruth@gmail is the email if you'd like to hit us with topics or questions or anything like that. And you can also leave stuff in the description as well on YouTube. I'm not sure if on the podcast apps you can leave comments. I don't think so. Maybe on one or two.
I'm gonna have to look at it.
I have to look at that and see. Maybe. I'm not sure. Anyway, all right, brother. I'm gonna sign off. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
You too.
It's the HPR Chronicles Podcast with Shakur and Smith, and we're out. We'll see you guys next week. Stay home, wear your mask, and
it's not mandatory.
Exactly. Keep social distancing.
Social distance.
Exactly. At least try and do that.
And wear the mask inside.
Exactly.
Inside businesses.
Exactly. I know I'm going to be wearing mine. All right, guys. All right, Smith. I'll holler at you.
Peace.